Buddy, hey, promised I would put a video out with my near-death experience, and be ready to hear the roosters crowing, because every time I try and talk about it, they start crowing. So I ask you one thing: if you have positive things to say, please post them. If you have negative things to say, please send me a message, and I will respond to you. The reason why is my little girl watches that, and we try to shelter her from bad language and things like that. So I asked only that of you. I think everybody's got an opinion, but if we could keep it through messages, that would be good. If it's and not to use bad words, please. Okay. In 2012, I went hunting in South Carolina. I know people are against hunting, but see what I'm telling you? Watch. We live off the land, so and it's something I was raised doing it. So went hunting out there. I have a history of heart problems and emphysema, COPD, and out there hunting that day. I'm trying to make this real short because I know my videos suck and people probably don't really want to sit through them too much, so we'll make it quick and so I can upload it within a day or two. Went out hunting. It was a beautiful day. It was a perfect day. There was deer running, everything. I'm sitting on this great stand. Got a view of, I don't know, probably 500 yards down and a road going around the corner. But there's pine trees out in front of me and rocks over on this side. Just a beautiful, beautiful setting and a beautiful day. It was just beautiful. So I'm sitting and I'm just having the time of my life watching deer, taking pictures. I love to take photography of the animals. And I'm sitting there, and usually I make a prayer saying, hey, Lord, back in time I don't go to church, and I didn't go to church then, but I said, God, please give me a big deer. And that was most of my prayers for most of the time. Well, this time I was having such a good day, and it was so beautiful. I said, Lord, I can't even ask you for anything. This is just the most perfect day. But if there's anything I can do for you, please don't hesitate, right? So that was it. That was my prayer. And I sat there and just, again, the most beautiful day, and little deer running out. And I'm sitting there looking, and all of a sudden, I look out in front of me, and I see an image in a pine tree. And it's an image, a face, like the optical illusion, Jesus' optical illusion face, like a reverse polarity, if I'm saying that right. Face in a tree, and it's a face I had seen before, and I recognized and I immediately knew what it was, and I was like, that looks just like Jesus, that must be the shadowing, and I looked closer, and it's only probably 50 or 60 yards away, and I'm looking closer, and wow, that's got to be Jesus, and I was like, it's true, Jesus is everywhere, and I look, and I'm looking over, and there's more deer coming out on this roadway, right? They put corn out, but there's a lot of deer coming out. I mean, a whole bunch of them, and which is unusual for that place. One or two is fine, but 10, 12, 13, that's a lot. And I look over, I look over at rock, and then the rocks, I see that exact face, reverse face image, and I hear, look for me and you'll find me. And then something else, and all of a sudden, boom, I feel like I'm wrapped up in this blanket, right? Just secured, and a white light comes. It's white with a lot of different colors in it, and it's like off this way. And I look up, and I don't feel like I can say anything or do anything. I just feel this most incredible, indescribable love. I mean, I've done this a million times trying to figure out how I can describe it, but there's nothing on this earth that comes close to what this feeling is, and it's love. I mean, it just feels pure love. And I'm thinking, wow, and I'm just caught up in this. It's all I can focus on, and I'm looking at this light, and it's not a blinding light. It almost looks like a beam of light, right? And I now understand what was going on. At the time, I had no idea what was going on for years. Not until this year did I know what was happening. But I know something's going on. I'm like, what am I doing? And looking up, and I said, what? I feel weird, and I'm like, what am I doing? I look, and I can actually see myself standing there, or sitting there, looking up at this light and smiling, ear-to-ear smile. And I'm not a big smiler. I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, but I don't laugh or smile a whole lot. But this one, I was ear-to-ear grin, just smiling. I'm like, whoa, that's not like me. And this love just, I don't know how long it was like this for, a while. And nothing's being said. I'm just feeling this love. I mean, it's overpowering, totally gripping love and joy. I'm just happy. And I'm still looking at the light, and I feel like I'm floating. And this is over some time now, and I feel like I'm floating. And still I'm not hearing anything. I just feel everything's muffled. I'm able to look around. I look out, away from the light, and I see all the deer there, and they're all looking down at me. Now, I don't know if I make a noise or they know. It's like they know what's going on, that God's here, right? So I'm looking up. I look back up, and I start feeling like I'm floating. I'm like, oh man, I feel like I'm floating. This is the most incredible thing ever. And I feel that floating, and I look down. I kind of look down, and I can see I'm way up, and I look down, and I can see that I'm up. I am actually floating. And I see a dark spot there in the stand, and I'm like, but it didn't dawn on me that was me down there, because I'm up looking down. So I just saw, I can't see that well anyway, but it was just a blur kind of down there, and I'm like, oh man, I am floating. And when I said, oh, I'm floating, and I look back up the light, I'm standing there looking out, and then the deer are gone. And that's it. I'm just like, and I'm upset. I'm just like standing there like, why did it stop? I want to do it again. It's just like, that was all I could focus on. Why did that stop? I didn't want anything to stop. I didn't think about my wife or my daughter or anything. I just was thinking about this love and how I wanted it not to stop. Okay? So you would think, oh, I must be traumatized, but no. And then a deer come out. I mean, a big deer. I could go into this. It was a long ways away. Pop, most beautiful deer ever. Okay, we won't go into that because I don't want PETA people going all over me. So, but that was the end of it. Okay, except for when the guide came back to get me, he said, "What is up with you?" I dropped off Scott and I'm picking up another guy. Evidently, I was acting different. Well, I got home and I was fine. The rest of the week that I was there, I was fine. Didn't have any other instances happen. And I got home and my wife kept saying I was different, that I was different somehow. Well, a few days after I got back, my stepmother died, which was heartbreaking. And to make a long story short, a lot of things would happen with that, and nothing happened for years. Okay, no, just my wife saying I was different, but we had a lot of strange things happen at the house during that time. Weird stuff, but I don't want to get off the path here, and we'll be gone way too long. So I'll continue on. So we zip up here to 2016, this year. Okay, and after years of writing to priests and other religious leaders to ask what was that happened to me, because it's something that's just gnawing at me constantly. Every day I think about it, and I still do. I have dreams all the time that I can float. It's very strange, but it's a regular thing with me. And so some other stuff happens, right? So nobody's ever answered me on these letters I send. Nobody will tell me what's going on. Just nothing, no response. And when this happens to you, you're not screaming at the top of your lungs because everybody looks at you like you're nuts, right? So, and I thought, well, God really loved my prayer that I said that I didn't need anything and I would help him. So he must have been happy with me. But I said, I haven't exactly been the best guy in the world. I'm not sure why that would be. But I described it to my wife and everything, and she just kind of looked at me like, okay, obviously something happened because you're different. So, but this year, I was scheduled to have a heart surgery, I had a bad umbilical hernia. The doctor said that I was going to have surgery. It was really bad and got infected. It was super sore just even to touch. But I'm a farmer and I never have time, or it's never convenient to have surgery. So we'll speed up the process here. And one night I get out of the shower. I had this, let me back up a little bit. I had this unrelenting desire to read the Bible. My goal was to finish the Old Testament before age 50, before my 50th birthday, which I did, but it was I was obsessed with it, and I don't know why, and I'd never even picked up a Bible, really. So I did audio Bible, whatever I had to do to listen to the whole Old Testament, and I finished 2 days before my 50th birthday. Then I felt like I had to fast. I just had this desire that I needed to fast for 15 days. I tried, I made it 9 days. I didn't make it, okay? So again, I start feeling I have to fast. This time I do. I'm fasting. On the 15th day, I get out of the shower, and this umbilical hernia has been it's really gotten bad. Like it's going to end up being an emergency. The doctor said, you got to get this. This is a major situation. So I get out of the shower, and my wife's sitting there, and I'm drying up, and she's talking to me, and all of a sudden she looks and she's drinking some tea, and she drops the glass, and her eyes just get like plates, and she looks at me, and I'm like, whoa, what? I thought like a spider was on me. We live out in the woods, so it's like, there's a spider? What happened? And she goes, look, and she pointed down, and she was pointing, and kind of stuttering, and my umbilical hernia was gone. The red, it was bad. Umbilical hernia is when your muscles split and the insides kind of push. It's awful. It's totally gone. You can't tell it's even there. No red, nothing. And that morning it was there. So we're just thinking, well, what is going on? That is so freaky. Went to the doctor. He can't explain it. He has no idea what's going on. He thought I had actually had the surgery, except there was no scars. So that can't be explained, but it is gone. The next night I get out, shower, and I go in, and I work on a computer, and I'm watching this Under God's Dome video. And they had this part where you look at optical illusion of Jesus, and then you can see his face. You blink your eyes, and you can see his face. So I'm going to do that. So I thought it said, look for 4 seconds, when it's actually said, look for 30 seconds, and blink your eyes. So I started blinking my eyes, and all of a sudden, everything like vibrates real quick, and for a while I thought it was on the computer, but it's actually, I think, right here that I was seeing, and these clouds come out. There's like a vibration, and then clouds, these freaky clouds roll in, and then open from the center, boom, and there is Jesus standing on this game trail. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. A game trail that goes back, and there's like a cloudy, like almost like a cloudy sunset with light shining through, and he's standing there in a white robe. Looks like he's got some thin cloth on his head, hair about to his shoulder length, and if I remember correctly, green eyes. He's tanned, gaunt but healthy, good-looking guy, real tight trimmed brown beard and mustache, and I can see light shining off his cheekbones. He has high cheekbones. I can see the light shining off it. And I'm like, how is that possible? The light's behind him and the light's in front of him. So didn't think much of that. But as quick as he was there, and he was just looking at me, right? Just looking. Not smiling, not frowning, but just like looking at me. And then he's gone. And I'm like freaking out now. I'm like yelling for my wife, I just saw this. And I get this really splitting headache. My eye goes bloodshot, and I get this massive migraine headache. And the computer I was watching went out. It was out the next day. It fried the computer too, I guess, or a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences, but something. Well, a couple days later, my wife, this is all the talk now at the house, because everybody's right there. So everybody realizes something's going on with this and that. So my wife comes in and said, I know what happened to you. I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, watch this video. So I watched this video, and it's about this person that had a near-death experience, and they're describing what happened to me perfectly. It was exactly almost the same. And I'm like, get out of town. I was fine, you know. Nothing happened. There was no trauma, no nothing, you know. But there's no doubt in my mind that's exactly what happened. So, I mean, it's obvious. It sounded like it was me talking in the video, but it was them, and it was so exactly similar. So then we move forward. I'm scheduled for heart surgery, right? And this sounds crazy too, but I've had this heart condition. I was going to have an ablation. They knew exactly where to go get it, where the problem was, and I always had a pulse that was 98 to 105, 110, constant, which wears you out. So, but I was waiting for my daughter to get old enough so I could have the surgery, worried that something might happen. So I go in, and I'm freaking out. I've had a lot of surgeries, and I never freak out. But this time I was really freaking out. Like, I didn't want the surgery. I didn't have one, and I've wanted the surgery. But all of a sudden I'm like, I don't want the surgery, right? My pulse is super high. I'm freaking out. I get claustrophobic, and I mean, I'm just at the end, and I finally, I was such on the edge of panic because he puts this thing over and locks you down, and I don't like being restrained, and I was freaking out. And I finally said, God, you know, help me. I'm putting my life in your hands. I'm not scared to die, because obviously I already did. But I'm scared for my wife and daughter that they won't handle it well. I said, if you don't want me to have the surgery, please do something. And with that, I guess they drugged me, and I went out. So I wake up, and I go, did y'all fix it? And they go, oh, we got good news. I said, what's the good news? I said, that there's nothing wrong with your heart. We looked. I said, how can that be? You know, I was mad. How can that be? My heart, for all these years, I've been in emergency rooms, so forth and so on, all these tests, and you know it's a problem. The doctor said it exactly, but it's not there anymore. My pulse is 70, and it stays 70. So tell me, and I've been fine. I drink Red Bulls. That's the only time my pulse goes up. I drink too many Red Bulls. But that's the quick version of what happened to me. It's all true, 100%. I'd be happy to do a polygraph, anything. But God is real, you know? And it's crazy, and it's changed my life ever since. I could tell you other stories that would confirm that I mean, every day he does something that makes me believe even more. I can't believe any more than what I do. I mean, it's not believing at this point, it's knowing. And I want that for you. I mean, I don't want you to have that NDE, obviously. But I want you to please pick up a Bible and read it. It's real. It's so real. All this is real. God's real. After that happens to you is real. The love's real. And believe me, if God loves me like he does, and I believe he loves everybody, he may not love what you do. But if you ask and accept his gift of salvation, you got it, man. And it is definitely something that you'll be like, and I hope that you'll remember what this video says, that when that time comes for you and you feel that love, you're going like, man, that crazy dude that does the horrible videos was right, you know. And I can't wait for that day for you, and I hope it comes. So reach out to God. He's waiting to hear from you. God bless, and may the grace of God be with you.